All right, so it's Christmas Day, and just got out here to the shop, and we've already got the 6.2 in it. So I think it was Monday night. I pulled out the LY6, got it out, got it set aside, and then had the 6.2 on the engine stand, and it was probably close to 10 o'clock at night, I guess, maybe. And my least favorite part about doing this stuff is trying to catch all the fluids that come out, and antifreeze is my least favorite. So antifreeze went everywhere, and I was like, that's it, I'm done for the night. So I squeegeed as much of it out as I could, and I mean, you can still see some of it there, and that just aggravates me to death. And it doesn't matter how many pans I put under it, how hard I try to catch it. I've never been successful in catching it and not making a mess. So after that happened, I was like, forget it, I'm just call it a night. And went inside and then cleaned up, went to bed, and then woke up at, I think I woke up about 12:45 and got in the shop about 1. Went ahead and gutted the LY6, pulled the heads, the pan, the cam, all that stuff off of it, and got it gutted, and then put the heads and all the stuff from the 6.2 on it. And I'm just try to sell it as a core. I mean, the pistons and all look great in it. Like I say, I really don't have time to mess with it right now. I may, if it doesn't sell, then I'll probably tear into it and try to figure out why it has so much blow by. Once I get the 62 going, this is the LS6, I'm sorry, too many engines. Out of the long bed, saw the long bed again Monday night, and so we got a stage 3 cam, I think, for this thing, so I got to change cam, valve springs, and that whole deal. And then this thing will be ready to go in the 97 short bed. I don't know if I've shown a video on that one yet, but it's a 97 step side, and the ECU and all in the 97 is obviously completely different than the 92. So I'm going to have to do a lot of wiring integration to try to get everything to work on it. It's not near as straightforward as the 92 was. So anyway, first things first, get the cam, springs in it, get it in the truck, and then start figuring everything out on that one. And then right now I've got to finish up the radiator for the 62. The little fan that I had before, this is a new fan. I got a brushless fan, but that one there, it pulled no CFM. I don't know where it came from. I really can't remember, but it didn't pull enough air, and with it being winter here in Georgia, it wasn't able to. I don't think it ran hot, but I didn't like it. The temperature was creeping up more than I wanted it to. So since I was having to do all of this, I just went ahead and got a new fan. That one's supposed to be 3400 CFM. It's a little thicker than the other one, so that's why it's not back together yet. And so I worked on this thing over 14 hours straight yesterday, and I was sadly I was beat. 14 hours straight thrashing on this thing. I was pretty tired, and then being on this concrete floor, my boots were killing me. So I got to this point, this is where I left it, and this is the first time I've been in the shop this morning. So I had Christmas with the kids and family, And now I'm trying to get this finished up today so I can hear it run. I've already changed the tune-up in the Dominator, and I've got to flash it once I get power to everything. But like I said, I got to get the new fan on it, and I just want to go through everything, make sure I got everything tight, because when you do that much work, that amount of time, I just want to make sure everything is done, because sometimes when you do all this, I try to stay on topic with one thing at a time. Manifold on, make sure it's tight, and then before I move to the next task, because if you're just scatterbrained with it, you'll forget something or leave something undone, and it's happened. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've screwed that up before. On this truck, I didn't tighten the return line to the tank when I initially put the truck together. I threaded the fitting on there when I was running the fuel line, and then time passed, days, weeks, however long passed, and once I finally got the truck running, I had a fuel leak at the back. Not a bad one, but it's just because I put the line on there, and thought I was going to pull the line back off at some point or whatever, but I didn't tighten it up all the way because I was anticipating having to come back to it, and it leaked. So, stuff like that. Just one of the things with doing this stuff, and I don't know how long I've been on this build, or I don't know, is it considered a build? Whatever it is, my truck. So, just when you touch that many things, there's always an opportunity for failure, and so I just want to try to methodically go over everything, roll through my mind, and try to remember, okay, did I tighten this? Did I put that in there? Because we had this thing down to a bare block. Saturday, this was a bare block. Honed it. I had to gap the rings and fully assemble the engine, and I think I had the bottom end done. I think it was Saturday, and then Monday night after I got home from work is when I got on this, pulling this out and getting everything switched over. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but LS9 head gasket's compressed thickness is 0.055, and I was playing around with a calculator because these Liberty heads have a smaller CC combustion chamber than an 823, so that bumps your compression, and that's not what I need with that. So I played around with the calculator, and I went with a 0.07 Cometic head gasket, which they were $240 for two head gaskets, whereas your typical LS9 head gaskets are about $100. So but I needed to knock the compression down to try to help being boosted and being pump gas and everything. So we'll see how much the meth helps. Again, I have a dual injector intake with 16 injectors that I can put on here and run two fuel systems and switch it over. I really don't want to get that involved with it. I don't think, but I probably will eventually, because this truck's not going anywhere because of its history, and it was my papa's truck, so this one's not going anywhere. So and I have a pile of money in this thing, contrary to what anybody might think. There is a lot of money in this truck. Even with it looking like this, I have a fortune in this truck. It's got to be over 20 grand. And the sad thing about that is I already had a lot of the parts. So I'm going to try to do a video. I've already started kind of writing down stuff I already had, stuff I had to buy, and obviously I'm doing all the labor and that type of thing. So I have a fortune in this truck, way more than any build I've done in a long time. So, but you know, people from the outside watching, you know, I don't think that they really grasp or understand how much it takes to do this, financially, physically, mentally, because it will definitely wear on you mentally. But I mean, you know, to be able to know what you need to buy, how to put it together, because when you're doing something like this, nothing just bolts on and works. That's just how it is. I've never had anything that, you know, I bought and was able to just bolt on, and then, you know, that was the end of it. You know, like take the front suspension, for example. I had to fully modify everything to make it fit this truck. It was as expensive as it was. That suspension was $4,500, and it was not a bolt-on kit or deal. Like, it was extensive modification. I spent a day cutting and welding and modifying to make this front end fit this truck, because it wasn't supposed to fit this truck. So again, it's just not what people think, you know, when they see this. I mean, not that I make it look easy or anybody else does or whatever, but I just don't think that people grasp how much it takes to put something like this together. Again, as bad as this thing looks, I mean, it's, you know, the normal person would not look at this truck and think that there's over $20,000 in this truck. So it's all in it's all in under here mostly. But again, I already had the turbo, I already had the turbo log, I already had the intercooler, I already had the transmission, I already had the Dominator, I already had the 9 3/8 rear end under the truck, I already had the radiator, the fuel tank, all that stuff, and it adds up quickly. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get the fan mounted on this radiator, and then tidy everything up. The other thing I'm doing is having to run the sending units for the gauges in the dash, because I do not have those fully installed yet. So I'm having to go through the stock wiring harness diagram and the gauge wiring, and then wire it up in here, and then make it come through to the underhood harness. So while the engine was out, I went into the underhood harness that comes in right here, and then there was a few spare wires, and I was able to tap into those and run those to my temperature sensor in the back of this head, which does read a few degrees different from the one in the front of the head, but you know, it'll give you an idea. And then I ran a wire around, and I'm about to tee in the this is the oil pressure one for the gauges. So I'm gonna tee it in and have the Low Dollar Motorsports pressure gauge and this one. So one will tell the Holley my oil pressure, and then one will tell the gauges my oil pressure. So I'm about to put that on too, and hook up my boost reference line and everything. But hopefully this thing will run really good. The OI6 was pretty healthy. It just had a ton of blow by. So I guess for the update or whatever, this is a 08 L92 bottom end. Honed it, re-ringed it, new bearings, new oil pump, new barbell. I ran a DOD pump in it, which is a M365 pump, because that's what this engine had. It was a VVT, but I like running the DOD pump on it, on the aluminum ones. So I don't know, funny about oil pressure on these LS's. So sometimes you have good oil pressure, and sometimes I don't know what happens, but I didn't want to chance it, so I put the Melling DOD pump back in it, which is what came off of it, and which is kind of surprising with it being DOD. I did new cam bearings, and then these are the Liberty heads. It's the JFR cam. It's like 220, 230, 600, 598 on a 111. This is a forced induction billet 80. It's got a 96 wheel, a 110 exhaust housing, full 4-inch exhaust into a Hooker max flow. I did get to use the coil packs from the Denali, because the coil packs that I had on it had the heat sinks on it, and they've been known to auto fire, so I didn't want to run those, but they fit the valve covers, the ones with the discharge up here for the longer wires. They hit the firewall back there, so I wanted these packs, so I was glad I was able to get these packs when I got the Denali. The Denali is gutted and out of here. I sawed the front clip already, so that's helping pay myself back for this engine, so that's always helpful. It's got a 4L80 in it, an FTI 3200 stall converter, and my drive shaft guy made me a nice drive shaft. The 9 3/8 Ford rear end with a 9-inch chunk, 325 gears, and 275 60/15s, 31 spline axles, and then the wood bed. So it's coming together, and hopefully this engine does well, and I'll actually be able to start driving the truck and enjoying it. It's really frustrating to have done all that work, get it together, and as soon as I saw the video where it was smoking out of here, I knew immediately we had problems. So I'm really hoping that this one runs well, and then once I get it running as best I can and everything, and can tell that we're good, I'm going to be taking it down to Michael. We'll get it on the dyno, and then I'll do some video on that, and hopefully be able to make good power numbers. So anyway, that's it for now. Everybody have a good Christmas, and we'll talk to you later.